Welcome to Tuesday. It's March 18th, 2025. This Day Weather podcast brought to you by Converse County Tourism. Feel the energy of Converse County. Explore Douglas's railroad heritage, Ayers Natural Bridge, and the Jackalope legend. Glen Rock boasts scenic trails, dinosaur history, and small town charm. Plan your visit at conversecountytourism.com. Well, the first wave of Pacific storminess, the strongest of all of them this week, will come in today. It's a moderately sized storm system. It's a quick mover, not as fast as the last one, but coming through, but it is moist, and it's going to head on through the Rockies today and tonight, then into the plains and northwest Corn Belt tomorrow, as it will become a pretty decent little storm out there on the plains. Much colder air will come in behind this system, so the very mild temperatures we've enjoyed will end. A lot of snow will fall, especially across portions of Wyoming. It's going to be a moist, nice, wet, water content heavy snow, which will be good to see. Now we have another fast moving wave that will come through Thursday and Friday, producing mountain snow, wind on the plains, mountain snow, wind on the plains, Saturday and Sunday. Both waves may produce rain and snow showers on the plains, but it'll be the high country that gathers the most out of the next two. Then, as we mentioned yesterday, there's going to be a area of high pressure come in, and there's going to be a good chunk of next week that'll be very spring-like. Really from Monday through Thursday, maybe Friday of next week, mild temperatures, sunshine, and a real spring-like feel to the weather pattern. But that high pressure ridge and what's going to be going on out in the Pacific Ocean is going to end up changing the dynamic overall of the weather pattern heading into April. We called that a readjustment phase yesterday, and that's exactly what it's going to be. It's going to make for a different setup, as we'll see a very large area of low pressure want to sit off the west coast late next week and next weekend, and how that system interacts with the jet stream pattern and whether or not moisture and energy from that low gets pushed in through the western United States or stays off the coast is something that we'll have to keep an eye on. But it certainly looks like once we get into the first week of April, there'll be lots of things to figure out. A lot of high and mid-level clouds moving out ahead of that west coast storm system yesterday, providing a nice visual, stunning shot there up in northern areas of Wyoming, northern Campbell County yesterday. And you can see as early as yesterday, that moisture was moving into the Heart Mountain area of northwestern Wyoming. Those areas picking up some snowfall overnight and early this morning. South Park, Colorado, waiting for that system to move in as well. And then as we saw across western Nebraska, those high-level clouds. And speaking of high-level clouds, some great shots of some cirrus clouds, some altocumulus clouds yesterday. You see this. When storms approach, you get high-level clouds first, mid-level clouds, then the low-level clouds. They come in layers. And so just lots of texture, lots of good feature. And the wind, high winds aloft will give you a lot of those features. Look at those cirrus clouds there near Pathfinder Reservoir yesterday. Just a beautiful shot there. A great example. Satellite photos show thicker clouds coming on in. You can see it's not a terribly large storm, but the clouds look heavy because they are. A lot of moisture in and around this area of low pressure as it comes on in, especially right here. There's a good concentration of moisture, and that's where the heavier snow is going to be falling as the system moves its way into the region as we work our way through the next 24 hours or so. Radar is showing an arch. This is a rain-snow mix here along the South Dakota, North Dakota border into Minnesota, then reaching its way back on through. As it heads east, rather quickly, it is going to produce a lot of weather. Speaking of a lot of weather, you can see the central part of the country kind of getting picked on again. Now there's a lot of blue and pink. This is all for winter weather conditions, whether it's pink winter storm warnings, blue winter weather advisories. The brown is for high wind watches and warnings. This blue area here is a winter storm watch. The red, you see this? This is a blizzard warning. As the storm gets out in the plains and intensifies and heads northeast, could have blizzard conditions north central Kansas, eastern Nebraska, through northwest Iowa, then up through Minnesota and Wisconsin. We have red flag warnings for high fire danger here. So there's a lot going on. I guess it's beginning to look a lot like an early spring pattern with these storms marching across the United States. But you can see across the Intermountain West, we've got a lot of winter weather over the next 24 hours. So if traveling, keep this in mind, especially because we've had this stretch of mild, dry conditions here over the last few days. This might catch you off guard. You can see that Wyoming, a lot of Wyoming is under some type of advisory for winter weather or wind. The areas that are white are not expecting as much snow, staying below the criteria necessary for a winter weather advisory or a winter storm warning. The low this morning, as you can see on the satellite imagery, moving into western Utah. So it's going about as expected. By tomorrow morning, quickly getting into northeast Kansas, getting better organized, tapping into better moisture coming up from the south. So that's why we have more of an intense storm situation along that arch right there. This high pressure comes in quickly behind it, but this next wave will come through very quickly Thursday and Friday, but it will come through in a weakened state. This is the forecast through tomorrow afternoon for precipitation. So you can see that northern Wyoming is going to fare the best with the heaviest precipitation, good snow in the Wasatch, good decent snow in the high country of Colorado, into southern Wyoming, Bighorns doing very well, the northern Black Hills as well, the Wind Rivers. So this will be a nice little boost to the snowpack, the Laramie Range as well, that could really use it. I do want to highlight a couple of areas here for travelers, and we'll focus in a little bit more on this when we look at the snow, but across the I-80 corridor area of Sweetwater County, along the I-90 corridor up here from southern Montana, across northern Wyoming into the Rapid City area, as well as South Pass, the mountain passes of northern and western Wyoming, there's going to be some travel problems. Also, we're going to be looking at some lightning, thunderstorms. This is not a widespread thunderstorm pattern, but I would not be surprised if we get some thunder and maybe some heavier snow showers in this area right here. And when you see this, this is something that you see in March. These systems have the ability to produce some instability where you could get a weak thunderstorm, and then your snowfall rates go up if you're underneath of those. So a rumble of thunder this afternoon and evening in those blue areas, not out of the question at all. So I want to go back to the travel concerns. So Interstate 80 right here in parts of Sweetwater County up to South Pass, and along Interstate 80 west of Cheyenne in this area right here. Watch out, travelers. I-70 through the Colorado High Country, then up along Interstate 90, Wyoming 59, Douglas to Gillette. Just watch out for those areas there that are going to have some tricky travel conditions. Then out here, this is mainly going to be coming in late tonight and tomorrow as the storm heads out into the plains. And then you can see the path of that storm as it goes up into the Great Lakes, where there will be a band of moderate to heavy snow, and that's where the blizzard warnings are in effect for this area right here. So travelers, keep that in mind. For Thursday into Friday, there's the next wave, zipping along very quickly. The next wave comes in right behind it, a little more north into Montana, that comes through Saturday and Sunday. But notice they're kind of moving along very quickly along this path. They're not taking dips. So if they're not going to take a dip, they're going to hit the mountains with snow. They're going to bring wind to the low elevations. Yes, I'm sorry, there's more wind coming as we get into Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Precipitation with those waves has a more northerly bias, and again, mainly affecting the mountains and the northern areas. By the early parts of next week, there's that high pressure ridge. This is for Wednesday. So this ridge builds Monday through Wednesday of next week. That should mean less wind, thankfully, and some very mild temperatures. What's going on out here, and actually further to the west, out in the western Pacific, is going to really dictate how things happen right at the end of March and into the first week of April. This low pressure system right here is going to end up being a large one and getting recharged by other systems coming in behind it. And a lot of times, we've seen this in Aprils before, this will become a breeding ground for frontal systems and storms that will get spit out and move across the western United States. And we start to see that. This is by next Friday. So by next Friday and into the weekend thereafter, These lows will start moving across the western United States, bringing an active weather pattern for the first week of the new month. So that'll be something that we'll monitor, especially early next week when we're under high pressure with nothing to do. Have yourself a good Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.